You're watching TVC News. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it's planning to tackle vote buying by introducing new mechanisms during the Osun governorship election. This would include the rearrangement of cubicles during the September the 22nd poll in a way to make it difficult for vote buying and selling. INEC's resident electoral commissioner for Osun State, Olusegun Agbaje, told civil society organizations in Abuja that the phenomenon, if not solved in Osun State, will deal with the country in 2019. For more on these, I have with me in the studio politician Dayo Israel. Thank you very much for finding time.
Thank you so much, Nifemi, for having me.
All right, so apart from rearranging the polling cubicles, INEC is also exploring a situation where one of the three security operatives will be designated to supervise and ensure that no vote buying is going on. The INEC chairman also at some point mentioned the possibility of voters not entering the booth with their phones such that they cannot snap the polling paper. How feasible are these strategies? Do you see them strong enough to end this menace?
The reality is that vote buying is beyond technicalities. There are foundational issues that affect, and it's been with us for a long time. I remember that, at the time it was, you get Coke, bottle of Coke, or you get 1,000 naira, and then it got to a stage where it is Diboko Sebe, which means vote and cook still, because they give you money to cook for still. As a matter of fact, I hear they're now saying Diboko Rale. That's how much that it has been entrenched into our democracy and into our election. But the reality is, it's going to require some level of, reorientation and sensitization. People who are going to buy votes is not just necessarily at the polling booth. There are many ways that they are going to buy the vote. So I'll give you an example. One is where party agents and party members begin to go into houses and give them money and incentive to come out to go and vote. As a matter of fact, some people will not even want to go and say they're not ready to stress themselves, but they give them some minerals, some food, or some drink to come out to go and vote. So how do you deal with that? Because INEC is not even going into their houses.
No, perhaps the impunity that is being discussed here was what we experienced at the Ekiti poll, where people had to show party, allegedly show party officials the party they had voted for and got money in return.
Yes. Now, it would help, and we would move forward a bit in that, but it's still going to have to be a lot of, because many of the security agencies themselves, they are compromised. Somebody, a big, for example, a gubernatorial election, where there is a lot of money to finance the election, the security agents, for example, some people will actually go to the agent, which is why we're telling people to make sure that when they vote, they should wait for their vote to count. We have heard a story where people go and vote and they go back home, and then some party agents will go to the officer and the INEC official and give them money and induce them and say, this remaining ballot paper, let's use it now, and these are things that happens.
The challenge here is how much money we spend for election. There are some who would say that we did not even get that amount of money for the social intervention fund relative to how much we intend to spend in 2019. Do you think that the ruling party is showing example in this light? We reported earlier how much a presidential aspirant was going to pay for nomination from 40 million naira, state governorship 22.5 million naira.
I'm going to be paying 850.
And that sounds like a huge amount of money. Would you say that that's the way to go at a time when we're talking about limiting how much we spend?
I think our democracy is still fledgling. So a lot of things, we're still trying to get it right. There are a lot of places that we need to improve and move on upon. But if we're going to preserve our democracy, we have to bring back values into our election process. We have to be able to bring back values into our campaigning process and into our electionary process as a whole. But the problem we have right now at the moment is that there's so much corruption everywhere. I don't mean just in this administration, but even an average Nigerian. And because people have lost confidence in the electoral process. If people believe in the candidate, and that's the difference between what happened in Anambra and what happened in Ekiti. In Anambra, for example, people collected money, but they followed their heart because they actually see value. But when you give people two different candidates who they don't have an interest in, they rather just take the money because they're not sure they're going to collect anything on a normal day. But the good part is if people are able to actually collect the money and vote for the people that they desire to vote for.
So we've seen over time how these atrocities have been performed during election, but then the challenge has been with prosecuting electoral offenders. What do you think really is responsible for this?
It's the political powers and the political godfather. So anybody who is actually committing an electoral offense has a big wagon or a big structure behind them that is supporting them. So when you arrest them, the challenge is some big person in the Babariga will go to the police station, or will call the AIG, or will call the DP, or will call the commissioner of police and make sure that those people are released.
So how do you tell the electorate in Osun who probably is being offered money to vote, do you tell them not to collect?
I think it's two ways. One part of me might just say to them, you know, collect but follow the real right.
But bearing in mind now that there are security operatives monitoring,
Yes.
and INEC is also saying it's going to prosecute offenders.
Security operatives. How do we ensure that the security operatives themselves do not compromise in the coming election? How do we ensure that those who are supposed to protect the vote are not going to be compromised because there's a political interest?
Dayo Israel, thank you very much for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you so much.
We're looking forward to better days ahead, especially ahead the September 22nd election in Osun State.